the biological activity of the three-dimensional protein structure is imparted by its primary, secondary, tertiary as well as quaternary structure, which is bound by several different types of bond. So sometimes the proteins are getting assembled and they have some conformational changes as well. So the primary structure is the linear sequence of L amino acids. At most 40 amino acids are there and they are bound via different types of interactions. Here I will talk about the covalent interaction that is imparted by the peptide bond. In 1953, Sanger first sequenced the insulin amino acid sequence. In 1951, Linus Pauling proposed the model of alpha helix and beta sheet. Proteins have several functions, including it can act as enzyme, biocatalyst, as well as the transport and storage protein hemoglobins are there. They can act as antibodies for protection as immunoglobulins. The collagen structure gives the structural strength as well as the different actin fibers, they give the mechanical strength. We know about the presence of receptor protein which binds with the ligand, as well as some of the peptide hormones are there like insulin. And we can find the presence of protein as the cell membrane component. General properties of the protein include the fact that it actually have different types of R groups along with the peptide backbone, because R groups contain all the amino acids. They may be rigid like cytoskeleton or may be flexible like immunoglobulins. The nomenclature of the protein, it starts from the N-terminal ends and it is ended towards the C-terminal ends. Here at N-terminal end, gly-1. So glycine is there, it will be named as gly-1. Classification. Simple proteins contain only protein part like histone, but the conjugated protein like hemoglobin chromoprotein, along with the protein part, some conjugated prosthetic group is present. And derived protein, they are derived from the coagulation, denaturation of the mother protein. Primary derived protein is proteans as well as secondary derived protein is peptone. There are different families of proteins are there, like alpha by beta family having beta alpha beta motif in case of glycolytic enzymes, or alpha plus beta family random alpha beta orientation. The bundle of alpha helices are found in case of alpha family, as well as beta family like T cell receptor, only beta sheets are found. Distribution of the protein in different sources. In case of pulses, the protein contains what? The protein contains methionine but lack lysine and arginine. The reverse cases happen in case of rice. Location of the protein. Usually the proteins are folded in such a manner that hydrophobic residues are buried inside and hydrophilic residues will be protruded outside. Here you can find the presence of transmembrane protein having the hydrophobic core region at the transmembrane region. As it is amphipathic, there are hydrophilic region facing outside as well as internal cytosolic matrix. Stereochemistry. Usually the amino acids are L amino acids, but in case of bacterial cell wall, D amino acids are present. We can find dextro and levorotatory amino acids, alpha amino acids, R and S conformation as well. Composition. Usually the proteins are made by 20 well-known standard amino acids. But in case of collagen, we can find hydroxyproline, hydroxylysine. But there are some non-protein amino acids are there like ornithine, citrulline, etc. Chemical formula. You can find the chemical formula of casein and gliadin here, containing carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur and phosphorus. Protein structure is determined by NMR study, X-ray crystallography, UV-VCD, by the electronic vibration, and all of the databases are stored for computational purposes by SCOP and CATH databases. They can be aligned, they can be monitored. The protein can be detected either by instrumentation like gel exclusion chromatography, dialysis, affinity chromatography, or by biochemical test as Bradford method, where the color is getting changed of chromacy brilliant blue G250 from 465 to 595 nanometer by reacting with the protein molecule. Let's talk about the physicochemical properties of the protein. The physical properties. The colloidal nature of the protein imparts the Tyndall effect. Shape and size. The globular protein are very compact in structure like hemoglobin, okay, having 55 angstrom diameter. But the flattened extended fibrinogen proteins are also present. Fibrillar proteins are there. Denaturation. So protein structure function can be abolished by application of denaturing agent, and when they assemble they produce the coagulation, and the structure can also be regained by renaturation when all those agents are removed. Osmolarity balance, it is very important. Hemoglobin gives the osmolarity balance in the plasma that is very important for clinical purposes. Optical activity, as we know that except glycine and proline as well, all the amino acids are optically active having chiral center. You can find the corn structure, CO4 carboxyl group, and different groups are there, are different, H is also present as well as amino terminal end is also present. Absorption spectra. The protein has absorption at 280 nanometer, having phenylalanine, tyrosine and tryptophan residues. Tyrosine residue absorbs at 280 nanometer, having 3400 mole inverse centimeter inverse molar absorption coefficient, and tyrosine has absorption at 280 nanometer, having 1400 mole inverse centimeter inverse molar extinction coefficient. Molecular weight. The molecular weight of the protein is determined by gel exclusion chromatography. Here you can follow how the log of molecular weight is calculated according to the volume of the elution buffer. Amphoteric nature. Proteins over the surface have both positive and negative residue. Positive residues are imparted by NH3 plus like lysine, arginine, etc. And COO minus extra negative charges are imparted by glutamic acid as well as aspartic acid. Now, isoelectric point or isoelectric pH is a particular pH where total charges are 0. That means in the neutralized condition, equal number of positive and equal number of negative charge. So, it cannot move to any end of the either cathode or anode. So, it is called the Zwitter ionic structure, and we can find from the Pi or isoelectric pH, if it is shifted to the alkaline condition, the protein will become anionic, and if it shifts to the acidic condition, protein will be cationic. The cationic proteins are histone and cationic or basic alkaline proteins, and pepsin is acidic protein. So, pepsin has negative anionic form in the blood plasma because its pH is alkaline than that of the Pi of the acidic protein, because in case of the basic protein lysine, arginine predominates, and in case of acidic protein aspartic acid, glutamic acid are more in numbers. Hydration. As we know that over the surface the polar residues are there, they are involved to make hydrogen bond and ion pair interaction with the water aqueous medium. So, a lyophilic sol structure is made. Solubility. The solubility of the protein is determined by several factors like pH of the medium, molecular size. If it is very compact in structure like hemoglobin globular protein, it will be much more easily solubilized than that of the fibrillar protein. pH, as we know that at isoelectric point, least solubility, right? So, if we change the pH by addition of acid or by addition of alkali, so it will be more dissolved. The solubility is also changed by salting in phenomena. What is that? If you put any concentration of ammonium sulfate salt, where in very low concentration, where one particular ion predominate, that will go and bind over the surface charge. So, one particular charge predominant, so they have some repulsive force among themselves, so they will be more solubilized, more interact with the solvent molecule. And dielectric constant of the medium, if it is very much ionic, dielectric constant is very much higher, so the protein will be much more solubilized. The viscosity, if it is very viscous, then that will be less solubilized. If it is hydrated, that means more solubilized. Now, precipitation, as I have already told you that at isoelectric point they have least surface charge, so protein will be aggregated and precipitated out. That is called isoelectric precipitation. So, that particular thing will be utilized for isoelectric focusing. As well as the antigens are there which will bind with specific antibody. So, immunoprecipitation will also be done with respect to the proteins. By application of some negative ion like TCA, if the proteins are in the positive condition, they will be precipitated out. If the proteins are in the negative condition, if we apply zinc hydroxide, barium hydroxide, so zinc proteinate will be precipitated out. And another interesting thing is there, if we can change the dielectric constant of the medium by the addition of chloroform, then no more repulsive force, so they will be aggregated and precipitated out, like salting out. So salting out is what? If we apply ammonium sulfate in much more higher concentration, both the ions will predominate, positive and negative. They will go and shield the surface charge. So no more repulsive force among the protein molecules. They will aggregate happily and they will precipitate it out. So that is called the salting out. Reactions. Proteins have many more reactions. Here we can find the Milon's reaction, where the tyrosine or hydroxyl group containing amino acid will respond, and in the presence of Hg2 plus white precipitation will be produced. Biuret reaction, alkaline copper sulfate solution, a tetradentate chelate structure with the nitrogen lone pair of peptide and protein will be produced, and it will produce a blue coloration. Now structural hierarchy. As we know that it will start from primary structure, then secondary, supersecondary, tertiary and quaternary structure. Let's talk about the peptide bond, that is the covalent bond made by the two neighboring adjacent amino acid by dehydration reaction, elimination of one water molecule. So this peptide bond is somehow a planar structure, okay? By electron transition, it has some sort of double bond character. 180 degree is the omega or the bond angle, and this peptide bond is the backbone of the primary amino acid sequence or primary structure. Oligo and polypeptides. As we know that there are 2, 3, few and many amino acids are there. So 2 is called dipeptide, 3 tripeptide, few oligo and more is polypeptide. If it is greater than 10 kilodalton, it is called as what? Protein. Okay. Primary structure of the protein. So characteristics. So primary structure is linear sequence of the protein, right, made by the L amino acid. It is very much kinetically stable, and it starts with the N-terminal end and it ends with the C-terminal end, and it is unbranched and uncross-linked polymer, but it can be joined via different disulfide linkage. So intrachain bonding may be possible here. And we can find different R groups, they are also present here. Here we can find the 50 or 500 to 2000 amino acids are present. Each amino acid have 110 molecular weight. So we can find 5500 to 220 kilodalton molecular weight of the primary structure. First, the insulin was sequenced, okay. Next, the importance of the primary structure. So it is actually give you the idea about how the three-dimensional structure will be made, molecular pathology, as well as it will give you the idea about the mode of action of protein, how it will be folded. Protein sequencing, now it is automated according to the Edman sequencing method by phenyl isothiocyanide gene to protein. We know that by the translation from mRNA, the protein is made. But if any substitution alteration happens in the gene sequence, that can be manifested at the protein structure. Because the mutation may be missense, different amino acids can be incorporated. Nonsense, prematurely can be stopped. So, mutation gives rise to different structure of the protein. Post-translational modification. After translation, some of the amino acid residues can be modified, chemically modified. In case of N-terminal modification, acetylation is there. C-terminal glycosylation is there, as well as the internal residues, side chains can be modified. Like you can find serine, threonine residues, they can be phosphorylated as well. Peptide cleavage. So there are some specific peptidases are there, like trypsin, chymotrypsins are there. Chymotrypsin cuts after phenylalanine, tyrosine, tryptophan. Trypsin cuts after lysine and arginine amino acid residues. So CNBR, cyanogen bromide, cut after methionine residues. This peptide cleavage is very much needed for the zymogen activation as well as internal sequence mediated by NO acetyl shift mediated by serine threonine residues can also be done. The peptide cleavage is very important for protein sorting at different target organelles. Primary structure hypothesis. It obeys cyclol or colloidal hypothesis, the model. It may either follow diketopiperazine model or pyrrole-pyrrolidone model as well. Significance of the primary structure. It gives the taxonomic insight, evolutionary changes with respect to calcium binding site as well. It gives the molecular pathological idea. In case of sickle cell anemia, as we know that glutamic acid is changed to the valine, so it disintegrates the hemoglobin structure. It is important for the protein databases, genomics and proteomic structure, important for DNA sequencing as well, DNA probing as well. It is important to synthesize antibodies. Okay, so it helps to know the family of the protein. It helps to know the sequence clustering, which particular sequence are present within the related proteins. Solid phase peptide synthesis. All those protein amino acids sequence can artificially made. Number one, by activation of amino acid, by coupling with the resin, then cleavage and release of the peptide after deblocking can also be done. Now, all those artificial peptides have several functions like drugs as vasopressin, okay? And we know that immunoglobulins are also will be synthesized for vaccine. Protein sequencing. So many steps are there. Number one, preparation of protein for sequencing. So we will denaturing them by cleavage of disulfide linkage with beta mercaptoethanol. So we will know how many subunits are present. Then sequencing of each polypeptide. We will make the fragment of polypeptide and organize the completed structure with overlapping. N-group analysis and disulfide cleavage, amino acid composition, as well as to know the separation, purification and characterization of the protein, then at last the sequence determination. The N-group analysis, we have to know the N-terminus identification, C-terminus identification, as well as the cleavage of disulfide bond. The N-terminus identification is done with FDNB reagent. That was actually done by the Sanger. It is called Sanger's method. The N-terminus identification was done with respect to dancyl chloride. It can be done with Edman degradation from the N-terminus N with phenyl isothiocyanate as well. C-terminus identification is done with carboxypeptidase A. The cleavage of disulfide bond can be done oxidatively or reductive way. Oxidatively, we can apply the performic acid to have cystic acid, and in the reducing way, we can apply beta mercaptoethanol or dithiothreatol. Amino acid composition determination, either it can be done chemically by giving 6-normal HCl or 2 to 4-normal sodium hydroxide, or enzymatically we can give the pronase. Now, after knowing the amino acid sequence, it is automated as well by application of beta mercaptoethanol, phthalaldehyde. You can have the fluorescent product, fine. For each and every amino acid, a specific fluorescent signal must be there. So, automated signal by HPLC will help you to identify the particular amino acid. Now, separation of all those peptides with amino acids can be done by Muldy-Dove technique, ion spray technique, SDS page technique, and that can also be purified. And after purified, they can be characterized, and the overlapping sequence will help us to know which are the common sequences, because all those sequences are made with trypsin, chymotrypsin digestion. Now, sequence determination, it includes ordering of the overlapping peptide fragments, assignment of the disulfide bond, because if the cysteines are present, we can know the disulfide bond must be present there. Protein sequencing or peptide sequencing. So, NMR study, X-ray crystallography, there are so many studies are there by which peptide can be sequenced. Peptide mapping can be done, as well as nucleic acid sequencing can also help us to know. There are several software are there, PBLAST, which can correlate the protein sequence, similar sequence with the nucleic acid sequence as well. But there are some problems for the genetic engineering of protein. What are they? The HIV proteases and different types of protein which actually give rise to different disease can also be generated. though the proteins are synthesized for the sake of agricultural, industrial and clinical purpose. Because you can observe how the monoclonal antibodies are produced from the fusion of the B cells and tumor cell by hybridoma technique. That is very much needed for the vaccination. So students, I have covered the linear primary sequence of the protein, the importance of the sequence, because it will actually guide how the protein folding will be made, molecular pathology, how far the protein will be expressed to show its function. Thank you very much.